Hi, I'm Nara Roberta Silva. I'm from Brazil. I've been in the US for almost 5 years. I am an adjunct professor at Lehman College and an academic advisor at the Brazilian Foundation. And today I am with Anuz and Dipika in the podcast At the End of the Day.
Nara, thank you so much for your time and thank you so much for being in the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
I'm so excited to have you because we're meeting after nearly 2 years. And just a quick disclosure, Nara and I, we met at this session called a Lead Workshop, right? Which was organized by New Women New Yorkers, NWNY. And that's how we became friends.
Yes.
And I see over the period of time, you have grown up in terms of your academic career, right?
Thanks
wow.
God.
So that's exactly what we want to talk about today. So as an adjunct assistant professor at Lehman College, who do you teach and what is the subject that you teach?
So I teach undergrads, people who are in sociology major, because I'm a sociologist by training, and also all other students who are interested in liberal arts, because the courses are usually open. So then I've had psychology majors, social work majors, sometimes business administration, English majors. So it's very, the range of people in terms of majors, in terms of training, it's very, broad. So I teach beginner's level sociology theory courses, and I teach also social movements, which is what I have done for my PhD research, and because of that I'm now opening up to more other courses in social inequality.
Right, and Nara, were you also a teacher in Brazil?
In Brazil, I was teaching more sociology courses, sociological theory courses.
And what are the major differences you found teaching in Brazil versus teaching in US, or especially in New York City?
I think here there is a stronger concern with applicability and making a connection between the concepts and what you see in your real life. So here we are much more trained. Here we are expected to deliver to students a discussion like, okay, so how can you understand your world around you? And sometimes the concepts, they become much more of a tool to understand what happens to you, whereas sometimes in Brazil, especially when you are teaching sociology majors, when you are talking with social scientists, that they have their expectations to manage the concepts more freely. So I think the scope and the focus of the classes should be different. Right. And as a consequence, the entire organization of the class is different. Like I'm much, especially at Lehman College, which is a teaching focused institution, I'm much more expected to not only deliver lectures, but also doing more the group discussions, the student presentations. They have more visual resources. Like I cannot go to a class and speak for 3 hours, for example. I cannot do this.
So as you navigate your way, as you have been navigating your way towards academic career, especially when it comes to teaching, is there someone you look up to, like who has been guiding you on how to design your curriculum?
One of the things that I noticed throughout these 5 years that not only for academics, but for everybody, you should not have one single mentor, one person that is going to be your go-to, the person who's going to solve all your problems. So throughout these years, I have reached out to different people depending on the moment and depending on the kind of advice that I needed. So I have some great contacts here, like people who help me out a lot in my research. So defining exactly what is relevant, like having this, perception, well, this is very relevant, this is not relevant, or this is very interesting, this is something that it might flourish here, this is something that you can get some audience for this, kind of discussion, but this discussion maybe is not that interesting. There are people that can help me out when I need to think about my classes in specific. So what kind of literature do you think it's important for this course? Or what do you think, do you know any topic or any reading that I can, discuss this and this topic? Yeah. So there are different people throughout the years, who helped me. Sometimes also like peers. It doesn't need to be necessarily like a senior professor. Like senior professors are and have been very important to me, but my peers have also been, extremely necessary because sometimes you need someone to read your papers,
Yes.
to like comment on your drafts, or sometimes you need an advice in terms of, so if I do this, is it okay?
Do you get a feeling of hesitation when you approach people for help, for advice?
No, actually no. And that's something very, very important. I think one of the things that when I evaluate my path and I think, how, could I actually stay for all these years and, continuously build this career? And I think mainly because I openly asked for help. And that's something very, very important. Of course, there is a way of asking for help. Like you should not like just come there like totally clueless person, what should I do? I have no idea what I need to do. No, you have, but asking is important. So there are some people say, so I'm thinking about publishing an article. Which journal do you think is going to be, interesting, for this and this and this discussion? So I'm going to teach with this course. What do you think that I should consider? Or even in my at my job, when I start my first semester there, I was always asking. So I remember that
You mean asking your peers?
Yeah, my colleagues, my office mate or my chair. So I was always saying, I remember when was my first test that I had to give a test to one of my classes, and I was very anxious. I was like maybe as anxious as the students were. And I remember that I prepared the test and then I showed to my office mate, hey, can you give me some, advice on this? So when you ask, of course, don't get there like, I have no idea what to do. Can you please help me? Like this is not, the way. It's like productive asking, what? So for example, I am a professor. So of course that I'm supposed to prepare my test. And of course that I know how to prepare a test. My question was, is this test something that is, do you think students are going to think that is okay, that is, a reasonable level of difficulty?
Yeah.
So then I prepared the test, and then I showed to my office mate. So what do you think? So it's not getting, what should I do in my test? So it's not completely blank, go there. And this is very important. I think the only time that I actually had a problem at my job was because I didn't ask. And it was also a matter of understanding a little bit of the structure of the institution, which is something sometimes we think, right, that we have, so I'm a professor here, I'm going to transfer and I'm going to become a professor here. I'm a scholar here, I'm going to, this transposition of time and place. And you think that the attributions they are going to be exactly the same, and not necessarily they are. So in my head, I had to deal with everything related to my class, which is true, but there are some portions of it that I need to report. So whatever student, instructor report, something that I think that is, I think is going to have any conflict, I have to report my chair. And now it's something I do. When I anticipate that I have a problem, that I will have a problem, I email. And then I tell, I think this is happening, just to let you know. Maybe it's not going to be a big deal, but if it is, and that was actually very important because when I had some other moments, in which I had other challenges, my chair already knew. So it was, so it became, and also is a way of building connections with your peers. It's not a matter of only demanding, but also understanding, being professional, and this is part, challenges and problems are part of the job. So the way that, showing that you are aware of all of this, shows to your colleagues that you are serious, that you are, very thoughtful, that you consider everything, that you are not there just to, just deliver your lectures and go home, that you are thinking about the entire, makes you more of a team, member. So that's important.
Right. And then I was just wondering, how would you know that the other person who you are reaching out for help would be comfortable helping you?
Interesting.
I think it depends on the kind of relationship that you have with this person, how long you've known this person, and also if you also open the possibility of this being an equal relationship, or at least something that, even if it's unequal in terms of you are a senior, the person is a senior and you are a junior, the person is more experienced and you are less experienced, at least in a way that the person can feel that you are also a resource. So, and I mean, of course, maybe some people are not going to be totally happy to help, depending if you ask for something super big. Right. So you have to also, there is no formula, but it's much more a matter of like testing, making a request and seeing how the person, responds to it. And also making sure that, that the person helps if they can.
Okay, so now that we are towards the end of the podcast, for new young immigrants in the US, what would be your suggestion?
Networking is really important. Everything, as I said, I've asked for help. And in this process of asking for help, you are connecting with people. I think there are, as I said, because you are from another country, because sometimes you have a degree from another country, unfortunately, there are some people who are going to be suspicious about your skills. Right. They are going to be uncertain or being a little bit hesitant because they're going to be, is this person, qualified? Does this person have the skills? So networking is also a way of breaking this barrier. It's also a way of showing to them that you are capable, that you know your stuff, that you are reliable. So my jobs, actually, all of them were because, when we had the course,
in the lead session?
They would say this, like networking, and I didn't take that as seriously as today when I look, I was like, wow, it's very important. Because, sometimes, like my job was, it was a referral, and it was with someone who actually works there, who nowadays is my colleague. I interviewed with her for another thing, and I didn't get the job, but she liked me. Okay. So then when I actually learned that they had an opening there, she said, okay, sure, I will put a good word on you. Wow. That's it. And everything, and I can see that when I go to interviews, and now that I am trying to get other projects and trying to open up, to other possibilities, I can see that sometimes people are like, oh, okay, I don't know who you are. But then after that, it's like, you're great. Yeah. So it's also important to do some networking, taking some time for that.
And Nara, if anybody wants to reach out to you for any career advice, what would be the best way to reach out to you?
My email is nararoberta@gmail.com. So it's nararoberta@gmail.com.
Yeah, if you're emailing her, make sure you mention at the end of the day in the subject title so that Nara knows where these emails are coming from.
Especially because professors have a lot of emails. Yes. So then don't get lost. Your email don't get lost there.
Nara, thank you so much for your time.
Of course,
you so much.
Thank
I know you have a paper to write today, and still you give me your time. That really means a lot to me and our audience.
Of course, thank you. Good luck.
And before we sign off, we would like to say special thanks to Andrew Rome New Immigrant Center, ARNIC, English Speaking Union, for providing us this wonderful space to record the podcast. For those of you who are new in the United States, a very important piece of information is English Speaking Union ARNIC provides free English classes and free personality development, professional skills related classes. So definitely get in touch with English Speaking Union ARNIC.
And at the end, please log into our website, podcast@theendoftheday.com, to watch and listen to our previous episodes, and do subscribe to our channel on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes.
Yes, and on that note, it's time to say bye-bye. See you next week.
Bye.
Hey guys, a quick note. If you have a personal story that you think might be helpful to the newly arriving immigrants in the US, please contact us. We would love to feature you in our podcast. Go to our website, podcast@theendoftheday.com, and write to us by going to the feedback section.
And by the way, if you love this podcast, you can support us with a small donation. Your help will enable us to continue producing more episodes. The link to support our podcast is in the description below.